Hi, I play World of Warcraft, or at least I used to. On Lothar server, people know me as Carmelina or Elysiel. But something happened with Ellie the other day that, well, you see, she's a healer. In fact, if you made a Death Knight on the server when Lich King first came out, then when you got to Hellfire Citadel, or Coilfang Reservoir, or Auchendown, then there's a pretty good chance you probably had me healing you through at least one of those dungeons. So, to get back to the story, my guildmate and I got into a pug the other day for Icecrown Citadel. Problem is, I just barely get into the door and they start telling me I'm not good enough to heal it. Tried to tell them that gear isn't everything, but it was like talking to a brick. They just wouldn't listen. So finally, I got tired of trying to convince them. I called them stuck up and left the group. When I got back to Dalaran, I get a tell from them telling me that my attitude is the problem, even though all I really wanted to do was heal a dungeon. So I told him one more time that gear isn't everything, and I put him on ignore. Now, remember I said I was in there with a guildie? Well, he got to stay. So later that evening, I sent him a message and asked him if he could show me the heal meters from that run. And here's what he sent me. Now, try to remember some of these numbers, especially the top healer there doing 2,908 effective heals per second. And what do you suppose I said about that? I could post those numbers in OS gear. You remember Obsidian Sanctum? It's the lowest level raid dungeon in Northrend. Now, you probably think I'm just being a smartass. There's no way I could heal a big dungeon like Icecrown Citadel way back then. So, let's take a look back. Now, I kind of remember this run. It was a long time ago, and if you know Obsidian Sanctum, then you'll definitely recognize the scenery. Now, about this run, I could tell you that the highest level gear I was wearing was the shoulders, which I got from Nax 25, and everything else was OS or Heroics. They hadn't even released Ulduar Raid yet at this point. So let's take a closer look at that recount window down there. Almost 4,000 heals a second, compared with just under 3,000 for the best healer in that ICC group. So let's move over to another example, and this one's from Nax, just a few days before the Icecrown thing. In the background there you can see patchwork. Big deal, right? This was kind of a special trip, and I'll show you why. These meters look like I was doing all the work. So what happened here? We had 3 healers with us, which is pretty overkill for Nax these days, and it's not like we're there going for the big time. So anyways, these 2 priests went down right at the start of the fight, which left me to heal the whole thing on my own. So you see, Ellie can produce plenty of heals even for a trip to Icecrown Citadel. It's just that her gear score looks a little low. It's not like gear score really tells you anything. It's just the total of all my item levels. It's not like that can tell you how aggressive I am at getting the heal spells out to people. I realize I've been a while getting to my point, and I hate to sound like a public service announcement, but don't judge people by their gear score. It's a shortcut for people who are narrow-minded, lazy, and ignorant. Now, I'm not the only one who disapproves of all the recent attention on gear scores. I was talking to a friend, and check out what he had to say. It's a retarded system implemented to make people feel like shit. And what does he know? Well, he actually knows quite a bit. This guy has 2 rogues, and it's the lower one that he's talking about here. And look at what he says about gear. Wearing mostly 213 to 232 gear, which is about next 10 to just around Ulduar. And he's keeping pace with a guy in full Icecrown gear, which is about 260. So, if you really want something to brag about, try telling people that you're smarter than this guy.